Welcome to Pulpmythos. We're here. I'm Brian. I'm here with Spencer.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about Perry Mason, the new HBO show that'll be premiering next Sunday night, Father's Day, June 21st, 2020. It's going to be 8 episodes running, I'm assuming, for 8 weeks. I'm assuming an hour in length each. If they're like 20 minutes. But pretty
Eight
sure.
episodes. The entire length would be the length of a movie. Just
Um,
want to
uh,
break it up.
yeah, that'd be funny. So we're going to be covering the show every Sunday night, just like we did Westworld. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. You know how we operate. We watch the show the evening it airs. We record immediately after and get the video up within 2-3 hours of the airing of the show. We always love feedback and discussion as far as what you think of our analysis of the show, or in the case of something like Westworld or Perry Mason. I'm sure there's going to be lots of, Perry Mason, there's going to be a lot of
Well, I'm assuming it's going to
mystery.
be
Figure it out.
murder mystery stuff.
Exactly. So, chime in on that. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Subscribe. Join us here every Sunday evening as we discuss Perry Mason. And we're going to jump into this preview. We're just going to go over what the show is going to be, a little history on the franchise, and then sort of talk about the trailer that we saw. First and foremost, Spencer, do you have any connection with the franchise? It's been around since the 30s.
Yeah, I was in one of the episodes back in the. No, it's one of those shows that you always heard the name. Like, I wasn't a huge fan, looking back, or, I didn't read any of the books. But, when we talked about this show coming out and you were just like, hey, we should really watch this. I like this kind of stuff. Like, I liked, even though, everybody gave season 2 a True Detective shit, to me, it was just different. But I like the gritty crime dramas. Like, I enjoy those kind of things. So looking at the previews and stuff, it made me want to go back and look at some of the things, kind of look at some of the history and stuff. But it's something that I'm actually probably going to go back and start reading some of these books, because I got, so enthralled, and I was just paying so much attention during the trailer that I wanted to know more.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I'd seen a few episodes here and there of the old 1950s, 60s series that starred Raymond Burr. That's about the extent of it. Obviously, I love the Ozzy Osbourne song, Perry Mason. But no, I was actually, I didn't know much about the origins of the series, and the more I read about it, and based off the trailer, realizing that that's what they were mostly going to be covering, I got excited because it's going to follow the original books, which took place in the 1930s. So I got a little IMDb and wiki stuff. I'm going to read through it very quickly. So according to IMDb, the HBO series takes place in the booming 1932 Los Angeles area. A down-and-out defense attorney takes on the case of a lifetime. The series was developed and written by Roland Jones, who worked on Boardwalk Empire, and Ron Fitzgerald, who's worked on Westworld.
Those are all good things.
Yes, stars Matthew Rhys as Perry Mason, and he's one of the stars, co-leads of The Americans. I know you love that show. I've not seen it.
It's very good, which is one of the reasons, like, when you told me that they were doing this, when I looked it up and saw him, I got super excited.
Also stars Tatiana Maslany, I think I said that right, the lead of the Orphan Black series, and John Lithgow is in it. Cliffhanger.
He's in Third Rock from the Sun.
Yes, cliffhanger, man. Dexter.
Yes. Oh God.
Yeah, exactly. So, which was that's a Showtime show, right?
Dexter, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's on Netflix now. Whole series.
So the history, as I stated, you had most people know it from the 1950s and 60s series, lasted from 57 to 66, and then it had a revival in I believe the 80s. Let me read through this. So it originally, I'm just going to read it word for word. Perry Mason is an American fictional character, a criminal defense lawyer who is the main character in works of detective fiction written by Earl Stanley Gardner. First appearance, The Case of the Velvet Claws. In 1933, Perry Mason features in more than 80 novels and short stories, most of which involve a client's murder trial.
Good
Uh,
lord.
yeah, the character of Perry Mason was adapted for motion pictures and long running radio series. These were followed by its best known adaptations, the CBS television series Perry Mason, starring Raymond Burr, a second television series, The New Perry Mason, starring Monte Markham, Markham, Markham,
Yes, I think so.
ran from 73 to 74, and 30 Perry Mason television films ran from 85 to 95, with Burr reprising the role of Perry Mason in 26 of them prior to his passing in 1990. Now, this is an interesting statistic, and then we'll get out of me reading this stuff. The Perry Mason series ranks third the top 10 best-selling book series. In 2015, the American Bar Association publishing imprint, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, began reissuing Gardner's Perry Mason books, which had been out of print in the United States. Perry Mason series ranks third in the top 10 best-selling book series. That's crazy. Um, so
Well,
clearly, oh, go ahead.
my thing is shit. Even if I wrote 90 books, I mean, it should crack at least the top 10. Holy shit! Like,
Well, also, like I was talking about the series a little bit with my dad, and we it's interesting how big Perry Mason was, but that sort of fell off right before our generation. So we don't, you know what I mean?
yeah,
We don't
people
really,
stop caring.
they stopped caring. So we don't really have that recollection of how big of a deal the series was. Its heyday was, mid 50s and 60s, mid 60s. And then yes, it had revivals, but most of the people following those revivals were, older and just, um,
Yeah,
had been
people who have
fans.
already invested time.
Exactly. And the fact that it, originated in the early 1930s, has gone through many different forms. Uh, it's crazy, yeah, that it's been around this long. I love the fact that HBO made the decision to not recreate the 50s series, but instead take a look at the 30s books and go with more of the, gumshoe detective uh, style of character.
Well, I think that with the success of shows like Peaky Blinders, and there's a lot of, and if you watch any of our videos, I reference that show a lot because I like it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of shows. I mean, even like Boardwalk Empire, that's shortly after, the World War,
Hmm.
because it's supposed to be, the rise of organized crime in the 30s and stuff. So these are, I like shows that take place in those time frames because think of a detective, like what they would have to do to solve a case back then. Now, shit, if you leave a hair follicle somewhere, they got your ass in like 30 seconds. So it's being a detective now, there's a lot of things that help you solve cases. Back then, it was just really, I don't want to say smart, but people who are able to kind of put pieces together. And I'm always impressed with shows that take those kind of paths. And when we watched True Detective, that first season, when all that stuff started, it was supposed to be in the early 90s, which was before, you know, the old DNA stuff started to kick off. So it's interesting to see how, they portray people trying to solve cases when they didn't have those kind of things at their disposal.
Yeah, and that was another reason I was excited when I saw this trailer and saw what they were doing. I immediately thought of True Detective and was like, well, this is sort of, I could imagine that conversation at HBO. It's like, well, we enjoy this this kind of story, and let's go to the origins of that style of storytelling, of those detective stories, with Perry Mason being, one of the true originals, and let's do that. So that, I think at one point a couple years ago, Robert Downey Jr. was attached to the production of this. I don't know if he was trying to star in it or if he was just wanting to be part of the production team, but this has apparently been in the works for a little while before it
Well, hence the reason
getting
they were
here.
able to finish filming it, because it was already filmed.
Yeah. This was been done. Uh, so the trailer, there's two trailers, both really good. The second trailer gives you a little more rough idea of what the story actually is, and it's everything we've been saying. He's a detective. It's in the early 1930s in L.A., and it appears, it seems small at first, like, okay, he's called in, there's some kind of kidnapping went wrong, there's an infant that's dead, someone's being blamed for it. I don't know if it's the mother or not, but as the trailer progresses, it's clear that there's more going on than is obvious. We get glimpses of the fact that he fought in World War I. That the police, the government, the church are all involved in this somehow. And the biggest and most important part of the trailer, I think, it early in the trailer and towards the end, he loves the game. He says it's something like that. He loves this kind of work. It's fun for him. It's a game. It's similar to like a Sherlock Holmes or something, where he literally sort of gets off on doing this, which is always interesting when a character similar to a Batman or something, when they're so good at it. Or what was the Wire? What's the main guy, sort of the main guy?
Well, I know his real name is Dominic Fart. I'm trying to remember. Hold on, I got you. It's Dominic West is the actor's name, but Jimmy McNulty.
McNulty. McNulty, in The Wire is sort of this somewhat of a shitty human being, but he's really good at detective work, and he enjoys it, and he's so good at it. For him, it's like a game, and he plays it that way. So those are
Well,
interesting characters typically.
well, like you said, Sherlock. Look at Benedict's version. Um, Not so much uh, Robert Downey's version, because that was the ladies' man. He's just super smart. But Benedict Cumberbatch plays him as very aloof and arrogant and thinks that he's above everybody, and that is because he's so good at his job and he's so good at it. This is a similar vibe. Like, he likes doing this because he's good at it. It
Yeah.
feels like it gives him a purpose.
Um, we only get the one flash, the little of him being at what appears to be in war. I'm guessing World War I, based on the timeline. um,
Yeah,
the
the War of
so
1812.
yeah, yeah. I'm curious if 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 there's going to be any PTSD, or what I mean, like what are the things he struggles with as a character, how that's all going to play in. It
I
should be
think that
interesting.
I think that that'll play in a lot, because you know these current times, we've been at war for quite a while, and there's a lot of soldiers, and there's been a lot of things that have been reported about being at war for that long is hard on people. Multiple
Yeah.
times going over there and everything. But you look at a show like Peaky Blinders, which shows that he comes back from World War I, but that trench warfare was not fun. Like, it fucked people up. And Danny Whizbang, the one of the characters in the first couple seasons, it's how much it messed him up. And they were addicted to drugs, they were alcoholics. Like, it hurt them,
Yeah.
mentally, to be a part of something that was so crazy. And I imagine that this, watching him in the trailer, it's explosions going off, and he's like sprinting across this, I don't know, field or what, if it's near a trench or what takes place, but I imagine that that's at least part of why he is what he is now.
Well, I want a Perry Mason Peaky Blinders crossover. I think we can make that happen.
Yeah, I'll talk to the people on the show.
Yeah, you take care of that. Yeah, I didn't realize literally until just this moment the crossover of as far as story, timeline wise, and the kind of characters they are. Like you're right, war veterans. Where in Peaky Blinders, the crime path, Perry Mason, sort of the law path. Uh, should be interesting. I'm excited for it. That's roughly it. I knew this video was going to be pretty short. There's not a whole lot to discuss outside of the history of the franchise and what we're excited about as far as the show. Like I said, we'll be covering it every single Sunday night, and
Okay,
we
so let's just predict, since we've seen nothing yet. Who do you think killed him?
who's clearly John Lithgow killed Bacon.
He's a number one suspect in my book.
Um, yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Actually, the fact that there is a conspiracy wrapped up in the plot, and they reference that everybody's in on it. It involves this kidnapping gone wrong, a baby perishing. What exactly is the mystery going to be? Clearly, that seems to be the core of the mystery, but it's got to last 8 hours basically. So, how are they going to structure it? Like, I think I talked about this a week ago. Usually, when you do stories like this, you have one big reveal about episode 4, halfway through, and then that takes you on the journey to the real, ending. I'm assuming they're going to have a similar structure. I don't know.
I would think so. The only thing that I heard about the way the series is set up, if you pay attention though, it said limited series. So I don't know that this is going to get multiple seasons, or if it's just the 8 episodes. Kind of like The Night Of. You watch that on HBO?
No.
Oof, that's rough. It's good, but oof.
Watchmen was also dubbed a limited series.
Oh, so they're not going to renew it now? Which I didn't think they should have. Like, the way it ended, it gave a perfect ending. I liked it, and I wish they could do more, but they ended it great. So
I think calling it a limited series is smart, because if you don't want to make any more, you can always just say, we're done. But you always still have the ability if you want to come in and do another series. So I think this costs about $80 million. I think that's what I read. So Perry Mason, one shot, 8 episodes, one mystery. If it's amazing, if the ratings are great and people love it, shit, we'll, drop another one in a year or two. If not, it was a limited series.
Well, to me, it's a kind of series that would be easy to do that with. I mean, it's a crime drama, so you come up with it kind of like True Detective. Now, they did it differently, but season 2, it's a different crime that he gets sucked into to solve. Like, it's not something that would be hard to do multiple seasons of.
Yeah. And Watchmen is a great example of, like you said, it's perfect as a self-contained season, but you could do more. But then you do question, well, if you did more, would it ruin it? Maybe it's best if you just leave it where it is. I don't know. But yeah, sort of wish we had reviewed that when it was airing. I didn't start it till about 2 episodes in. I wasn't sure if I was going to watch it. And then I kept hearing buzz, good buzz about it. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll watch it. And so I caught up and was like, damn, it was really good.
Well, to me, I'm not going to pretend like I'm an avid reader or anything, but I do read a lot of comics and graphic novels and stuff. I have like From Hell, anything Frank Miller's done, anything Alan Moore has done. Like, there's several people who I quite enjoy. And, I love The Watchmen. Like I have a special edition book, and I really enjoyed it. So
I
I
say
think
I have all your Alan Moore stuff.
I know you do.
Um. So yeah,
My B for Vendetta,
yeah. Looking at it right now.
my From Hell.
Um. So yeah, Perry Mason. Like I said, we'll be doing those reviews and looking forward to your input. Anything else you want to say
Not
about Perry Mason?
not on topic. I mean, if I keep talking, I can talk about anything.
Ah,
So
yeah, I know. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to say that real quick, and then we're going to get off here. We're just looking at the analytics, looking at what videos do well, what videos don't do as well. And I noticed that one of the videos where we're just sort of talking, it's short. It's just us talking about nothing really specific. Seems to be doing better. I don't know why. I don't know if it has anything to do with the tags I put in it, or I don't know. If you enjoy just hearing us babble on about bullshit, let us know in the comments. We'll do more of that, or do videos specifically for that.
yeah, because I can talk for fucking ever about anything.
If not, then I guess you can let us know that also. Uh, so
Yeah, so that way Brian can keep me on
yeah,
topic.
we'll talk to you next. I don't mind going off topic. So yeah, next Friday, another movie review. We'll be doing, what is it, Ready or Not,
Yes,
and which Spencer's seen. I've still not. And
asshole.
then next Sunday, the 21st, Perry Mason review, first episode. So we will see you then. Bye.
Bye.